Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit north node sextile or trine one's natal south node. Now, this transit may manifest in one's future destiny, mission, and purpose, what you're directed to, what you're learning and aspiring to be, being in harmony with really your past, what you're leaving behind, what you're going away from. Now, one way, I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. One way, if this may be expressed, it could actually be beneficial for your future. Being connected with could be someone prominent in your past. It could be something that you may have learned from your past, your natural, built-in, qualities. That is connected, of course, associated with the South Node. It can be time. Let's say, you have, Scorpio and Virgo, involved in this transit, and you're getting the sextile aspect. It can be a time for very analytical, which is Virgo, and detail-oriented. It could be something with the occult, which includes astrology, which is associated with Scorpio, um, or something with forensics, where you do a lot of analysis. If you have, say the transit north node is in Scorpio and the natal south node placement is in Virgo, as an example, that could be a good transit for incorporating forensics, deep research, and having the analytical ability, or something again with the occult, which includes astrology, and being able to analyze, which is Virgo, and Scorpio, and the occult, which includes astrology, is associated with Scorpio. Now, the thing about this transit as well, if there is something, in the south node that's affecting you to your detriment, this is the time where you can move forward and deal with it, and be able to maybe make progress by focusing on getting away from the negative tendencies that are associated with the south node placement. If the south node, say, is in Aquarius, it could be rather rebellious, non-conforming, erratic behavior. It could be shocking behavior. I'm not saying somebody with the south node in Aquarius is going to be climbing up the walls, suction cups on their hands and doing like a Spider-Man impersonation or something, but it can be, the south node is about overdeveloped and redundant qualities. South node in Virgo, like what I have, is could be over-analysis. It could be like in astrology, seeing the Dwad within the Dwad as an example. And it's also a time, when you have this transit as well, people, again, that are prominent in your future, they could be more, accepting of your natural, your built-in, qualities, which is things that you're naturally proficient in, which is associated with the south node. If you have your, say your natal south node in the zodiac sign Cancer, it can be nurturing qualities, dedication, sensitivity. It could be being empathetic. It could be being very good in some Cancerian type of position, such as home caregiving, roofing, home renovation, remodeling, real estate, as some examples. And this could also be the time where your destiny may be strongly tied in. It could be someone that was with someone that was prominent in your past. If you have your natal south node in Capricorn in the 11th house, it could be somebody that might have mentored you in astrology, or maybe even astronomy, or computers, or electronics, as some other subjects. It might even actually be a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant person, or one that simply embodied those characteristics. This could also be, a time, when you have this transit as well. This is, again, it's the can be the negative expression of the natal south node. Can be about the negative manifestation and expression of the placement. And when you have the transit north node, again, making a harmonious aspect to it, a sextile trine, it could be about really being able to deal with this placement, and it might be able to blend in the positive qualities of the placement as opposed to the negative. Now, the thing about this is some of you may wonder, well, what is the difference between this sextile trine or trine transit as opposed to the conjunction? Well, the sextile and trine is very flowing. It's positive and it's very positive. But when you have it's auspicious. But when you have the conjunction, now the conjunction aspect can be comparable to this, but not precisely or exactly the same. Conjunction aspects in astrology are very intensifying and integrating. Um, it can be to a point where when you have the conjunction, it can be an energy that's like to the exclusion of everything else, where you may become oblivious to other things that are around you. There might be too much. It's a lot of intensity. It might be too much of a focus on what was connected with your past. You might be so strongly directed to involve with say people that were prominent in your past, as an example, that that you were just maybe oblivious to other things in your life. So that is how really how you have the difference between the sextile and trine aspect in contrast to the conjunction transit. Now, another thing is with this transit as well. Again, this is about it could be the south node. Can be about behavior. Connected with the past. If you have your south node, Libra, say, it might be where you may have just simply put on a superficial charm, just to get what you want, or ingratiating yourself with others just to improve like a social status, as some examples. And it's really about, when you have this transit again, about really confronting, being able to confront these issues. The transit north node, when you have the north node involved in transit, it can be about issues one may have to address and confront. And when you have this in the transit, it can be very auspicious for dealing with those negative, the negative energy that can be connected with the south node placement. And the thing is, it's just of course, a very positive time for that. The north node is about where you're headed. It's about what you're learning, aspiring to be, and being able to do so, and maybe in the process leave behind the negative that is connected, with the natal south node placement. Now, another way that this transit can manifest, it can be a positive for moving toward, which is the north node, and again dealing with the qualities that may affect you to your detriment, which is the south node. Now, for example, if the natal south node is in Capricorn, it could be very undemonstrative in qualities, being very pessimistic, overly conventional. As some examples, it can be just a very cold nature that might be very affecting you negatively. Another thing too is that this is also a time when you have this transit where it can be auspicious to pursue your purpose at the time, which is the north node, and while leaving behind what isn't, which is the south node. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit north node is in the zodiac sign Cancer, it can be the purpose may be connected with caring. It can be something with plumbing, or it might be working in the laundry business or cooking, as some examples. Now, when you have this transit, keep in mind that the transit of this north node doesn't supplant or replace your natal position. The natal position of the north node in your chart is constant, and that's constant energy, and especially emphasized in roughly the second half of your life. And the thing about the transit north node can be energy and qualities that you're developing at that particular point in time. Now, another way This transit could manifest. It could also be about people that are prominent in your future, which is the North Node, being in more harmony and agreement with what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now let's say if the natal South Node is in Libra, going to Libra again as an example. Those things you might be naturally adept in can be connected with negotiation, art, intellectual, sociability. It might be being able to, reconcile. It might be something connected with arbitration or mediation, as some other examples. And it's really, just this transit just very, again, positive for, it could be, the development of those qualities of that transit of the North Node, and maybe perhaps being assisted by those people that are prominent in your past. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard signs. Stay well.